So yeah, really great experiences in a lot of tech startups. I kind of moved from content creator to content strategist to head of content, head of marketing, VP editorial, VP growth kind of roles. So ended up leading a lot of creative teams of content creators as well, which has been really fun to learn to do. And particularly in that post WeWork sort of people are kind of, and post-pandemic, people are requiring a much more authentic kind of leadership, particularly creatives, much more flexible kind of leadership. So I've really found that part of my career to be very rewarding. But at the end of the day, I'm a copywriter and always will be. I love MICROCOPY. I love writing clever emails, particularly if they're automated. Like people don't expect to be surprised with delightful copy in a forgot my password email, but it's such an opportunity to like just have the best time and put your jokes in there and put your best stuff in there and really make a moment in somebody's day, because the one email they're going to have to open is your password forgot email, and I get so much joy out of those kinds of writing tasks. So no matter sort of how far I've gone, I've always tried to keep close to keeping at least 20% of my week spent on writing.
I love that model, coming from the experimentation and conversion optimization background of looking for underrated real estate where you could potentially make it delightful. Like thank you pages. I hadn't thought about the forgot password email. That's actually another very good one. But there's those little areas that nobody's thinking about. Everybody's thinking about like the value proposition on the homepage, like these very big areas, but like these smaller areas might have actually more impact because they're forgotten about.
Absolutely, I agree.
How did you learn copy? Because that's something that's like top of mind for me right now. Like I want to become amazing at copywriting.
This might be a very unpopular opinion, but it's such a difficult question for me to answer because it really came so naturally. It was something that I just thought, I guess being good at banter in real life, maybe like having a bit of a, actually getting really good at copy, I think, is about spending time on developing your own point of view. Because that is at the end of the day what makes it really great, is if you've got, your kind of lens from which you see the world. And that's the most unique thing. And that's, there's no original thought left. There's no original sentence left to write in the world. But if you've got your own perspective, which nobody else has, and your own little observations and the way that you see the world, so spending time really developing that, I would say, is probably your best bet, assuming you've already got basic writing skills, of course, because you've got to have a good handle on the English language. I think that's a prerequisite for sure.
Mm, that's a great point. You mentioned earlier some copywriting blogs and resources too. Are there any that you'd throw out there as being like worth checking out?
Sure. So Very Good Copy. I read a lot. Of course, Copy Hackers I read. What else? I'm a big fan of just reading things that are not necessarily about copywriting, but are examples of good copywriting. So Morning Brew's array of newsletters are, of course, really great. Azim Azar writes the Exponential View newsletter and another newsletter called Charts of the Week. And I think that's another great content writing example. Newsletters these days are kind of where it's at, right? I realize now I'm realizing that I am citing a lot of newsletters as prime examples of copywriting. I think they're really having their moment.
Yeah, in the same way I've talked about this with my co-founders. Like I used to read and subscribe to a lot of blogs, and now there's still a couple I'll check out, but really a lot of it's on social. I get a lot of social stuff to filter through the good content, but then a lot of it's email newsletters and Substacks that I look towards.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty interesting transition. Who are you chasing, and what's your long game?
You mean career-wise for myself?
Yeah, where are you going?
Book deal. I want a book deal.
You want to write a book?
I want to write many books, retired in a log cabin, And yeah, I think that, I mean, who doesn't, right? If at the end of the day, particularly if you work in copy, I think we all probably harbor secret dreams to write a book. But I think
100%.
that 2022 is going to be the year I get started on that book.
What are you going to write about?
That's the problem. I'm not sure. Have you seen what Amanda Montell is doing? I think she's really clever. She's been doing she's a linguist, I believe, and recently published Cultish, for example, which is a book that is an analysis of phonetical language on social media and how it's kind of used and marketed to us in various branded campaigns and things like that. And I just love that kind of thing. Like, she got to spend a year analyzing content marketing and the way people talk and adapt and use language on social media, and then wrote a book about it. What fun.
That's awesome. Hello, this is Alex Burkett, the co-founder of Omniscient Digital and hopefully prolific YouTube creator at this point. I am grateful that you've watched this video. You've made it to the end, and I just have an ask for you, which is I love to be in more of a bi-directional conversation, if you will. It's fun producing content, but it's more fun getting your responses. So if you found anything disagreeable, controversial, contrarian, if you have opinions that you don't agree with, please let us know in the comments and we'll hash that out. If you have recommendations for people to interview or topics to cover, anything you want to learn about SEO and content marketing, we want your feedback. Basically, join us in conversation. Thank you.